All right, if you guys want to get better at making guitar melodies that sound more emotional, watch this video all the way through and try to apply these as we watch. That way you guys can get the habit of doing this. Firstly, we're going to start at either E or F. These are going to give us very specific frequencies that tap into the actual emotion of sadness. Okay, now we're going to map out what's called an E minor chord. I'm using my plugin here called Hypnos. You guys can find this at busyworksbeats.com/premium in our black box bundle. Okay, so it's called Hypnos. Preset is called Guitar Mellow. So here we have E, and then we're going to count up 3 notes. 1, 2, 3. This gives us what's called a minor third. And then let's count up from the root note here. Let's count up 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That gives you E minor. Okay, so now we have all these notes. Let's start revoicing the chord. So what most people don't understand is that melody derives from chord 90% of the time. Okay, so what we're going to do is rearrange these notes to sound more melodic. The simple way to do this is simply to change the timing of the notes. So instead of playing them all at once, we're going to separate them by time. Let's move this third over to the right, and let's take the fifth and move it over here. But that's the simple way to play it. Let's hit Control down, and now we have a second inversion because now the first 2 notes of the chord at the bottom are now an octave higher than the fifth. Basically, we're just pulling a fifth down. It's called the second inversion. And now we have a sadder sound. Let's up the BPM just a little bit. We can repeat this, or we could play in triplets. Okay, so let's go to snap to grid, 1/3 beat, and we can play in triplets. So it's like dun. And you guys can repeat that. Now that wasn't the greatest triplet. Normally I would play triplets at a smaller increment. Let's try to do it this way. That way you guys could actually see the timing. Now normally it would be like this, but let's spread it out. Hit Alt, left click, and drag this until it locks into the grid again. So that's a triplet. We might not use that timing, but that's great for arpeggio. Okay, so let's hit Control G, showing you guys different timings here. So now we're just in regular quarter timing. We're going to repeat this one more time here. And now we can use what I call anchor notes to guide our ear through this melody. So we can keep the G the same, and we could change out the actual chord. So, you know, if we're getting geeky with it, in music theory, what other chords have the note G? If we're using all the white notes, we could use F major ninth. We could do C major. So let's pull this down to C major. See what this sounds like. Now this is a happier quote-unquote chord. And we're going to play the root note first, the third, second, and then G. And this is how you can make a happy chord sound sad. Okay, simply by rearranging these notes and going downward. My ear wants to hear this note, so let's figure out which chord we can add in here. Okay, so I know F sharp, we could use that with D and B, which creates the minor chord. So these notes are way too low. Let's pull them up. This doesn't sound very tense, so we could either change the chord. Okay, so one way to do that is make this 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make this 4 notes away, and then let's make this what's called augmented, 4 notes away, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is more of a passing chord. It creates tension. Augmented chords and diminished chords do the same thing. Here's another way to add some more energy to our augmented. We could add another note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is called a tritone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes below the root note of an augmented chord. Creates a nice tone. Now let's just switch this top note. My ear wants to hear this. Okay, so we're doing really weird out of key type stuff. right, now we need to end here. Just gonna assume that it's a minor chord. Let's just notice we're not following the scale degrees. Okay, now let's try major. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now we could do the, you know, pull the fifth down and strum it out, pick the notes. To me, it's a little dark that way. Okay, let's go upward. Okay, now let's just pull this up an octave. It's a little dark. Okay, so I changed the chord type. I forgot we were doing inversions here, so I made this second inversion. Okay, so now we can use this contrast layer. Okay, and then we can copy this over and then change out those bottom notes. So the bottom notes become their own thing. Okay, so I'm just going by ear, adding these bottom tones. I'm not worrying about the chord type. There we go, that sounds better. So notice I'm going downward with the bass notes most of the time. Let's add some humanization to this. Okay, so let's change out this bottom note, even though I do like the doom doom. Okay, so most people showing you guitar melodies, they'll just show you a minor scale and then tell you guys to do a 1-4 chord progression or 1-4-5 or something like that. But I'm trying to show you guys, you don't always need to think about a scale when you're making your chord progression. Sometimes it's just about the chord voicing and just using your ear to reverse engineer and problem solve as you move through a chord progression. Because in jazz theory, you're not locking to the scale all the time. You're going out of scale the majority of the time. Let's also change the key. Let's hit Shift up to transpose the key from E to F. All right, just to show you guys, we could transpose to any key, but it just sounds best at E and F. Now we're in the key of D minor. Let's transpose the different keys here. Let's try C minor and then A minor. Let's try C, B, and then A. Let's start at C. And we're getting kind of low, so I have different articulations for this. Let's try B. Now notice in the beginning, until you guys learn voicing about chords and how to use tension and release in your chord progression, when you're writing your chords, it will sound crazy to just use a simple diminished chord. Once you understand the final process and all the alterations we do to the chords, that's how we get to that defined sound. Let's hear this in the key of B minor. My personal favorites are A minor and C minor. If you guys want these project files for free, go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. If you guys want to learn music theory and get to the core of how to do this, go to busyworksbeats.com/premium and look for the Music Theory Essentials course or the Music Theory Magic course. Those two combined will give you the underlying education you guys need to understand everything I talked about in this video, because I simplified and I go step by step. All right, so if you guys want a guitar melody course specifically, just become a channel member right on YouTube. Subscribe if you're new. Peace out, guys.